Hi, we're Marin and Angela of Homeschool Unrefined. Over the past 25 years, we've been friends, teachers, homeschool parents, and podcasters together. With our master's degrees and 20 years combined homeschooling experience, we're here to rethink homeschooling, learning, and education with an inclusive and authentic lens.
At Homeschool Unrefined, we prioritize things like giving yourself credit, building strong connections, respectful parenting, interest-led playing and learning differences, mental health, self-care, listening to and elevating LGBTQ+ and BIPOC voices.
We are here to encourage and support you whether you're a new homeschooler, a veteran, you love curriculum, you're an unschooler, whether all your kids are at home or all your kids are in school or somewhere in between, wherever you are on your journey, we are the voice in your head telling you you're doing great and so are your kids.
This episode is 196, When Kids Push Back. We'll talk about what to do when kids push back and whether it's ever okay to push your kids. And then we'll end, like we always do, with our LTWs, Loving This Week.
Something new that we wanted to tell you about this season is we are doing transcripts for every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
Those you can find on our website or in the podcast app that you're using in the show notes. We're also doing video episodes. So if you'd rather watch us on video, you can do that too.
Yeah.
And links to those are in the show notes and it's just on our YouTube page.
We are starting something new this season where we are bringing you 3 new sponsors for the entire fall season. We were very intentional about who we chose for sponsors, and we really appreciate you taking the time to learn about them because we think they're just really good companies, and they're giving us discount codes, so you'll want to listen for those. We are so happy to work hard on this podcast, and we appreciate the financial support in making it happen. We know from experience that finding a homeschool history curriculum that tells stories from multiple perspectives is an almost impossible task. That's why we're excited about the work Blossom and Root is doing. Blossom and Root is a nature-focused, secular homeschool curriculum focusing on creativity, science, nature, literature, and the arts. Blossom and Root has been gently encouraging and supporting homeschooling families around the globe since 2016. Blossom and Root currently offers curricula for pre-K through 5th grade, with new levels being added in the future. Additionally, a 3-volume inclusive U.S. history curriculum told from a variety of viewpoints is currently in development. As of August 2022, Volume 1 is available for purchase, and Volume 2 is available on pre-sale. All profits from this history curriculum, A River of Voices, will be used to support storytellers and artists from historically excluded communities. You can find samples, scope and sequences, and information about each of their levels on blossomandroot.com. You can also find them on Instagram at Blossom and Root. Blossom and Root has created a special discount for our listeners. Use the code HSUnrefined15 at checkout for 15% off your purchase.
Biology Coloring Club, Math, Frog Life Cycle, Grammar, Star Wars The Old Republic. These are just a sampling of classes our kids have taken throughout school. We know that kids who love to learn don't just prepare for the future, they create it. That's why OutSchool has reimagined online learning to empower kids and teens to expand their creativity, wonder, and knowledge. Empathetic, passionate teachers encourage learners ages 3 to 18 to explore their interests, connect with diverse peers from around the world, and take an active role in leading their learning. OutSchool has created a world filled with endless possibilities for every schooling journey. Explore over 140,000 fun and flexible live online classes to find the right fit for your family and join us as we set learning free. Sign up today at outschooler.me/homeschoolunrefined and get up to $20 off your first class when you enroll with the code UNREFINED.
Teaching creative writing and reading in a way that is fun and accessible is a necessity. That's where Night Zookeeper comes in. Is your child a reluctant writer? Do they struggle with reading? If your answer to either of these questions is yes, the Night Zookeeper may be just what you're looking for. Night Zookeeper is an online learning program for children aged 6 to 12 years old that uses a gamified and creative approach to help to keep kids engaged and focused on developing awesome reading and writing skills, all while having fun at the same time. Some of the features we love include the educational games, the personalized feedback on writing from real tutors, and the super safe community pages where children can work with each other and learn together. If Night Zookeeper sounds like the perfect learning program for your child, you can try it for free by clicking on the link in the show notes. When you register, you'll get a 7-day risk-free trial, as well as a huge 50% off an annual subscription. That's a great deal if you ask me.
All right, Marin, we are here today for our main topic, which is about kids pushing back. And we chose this topic because we hear about it all the time. We hear
about it all the time, and we hear it happening all the time.
Yeah, we
We
experience
hear it happening.
Yeah, we experience it and hear that others are experiencing it.
Mhm.
Often it may not be worded exactly like my child is pushing back, but it might be like my kid doesn't want to do this thing, or this
Yeah.
subject is stressful, or something like that.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
so we wanted to talk about it.
Or it could be my kid being disrespectful, or my kid is being really whiny. That's what
Yeah.
it can sound like often.
Right. Or lazy,
Right.
or
Right.
something like that. And we know that this is a common occurrence for homeschool families at lots of different ages and stages, and we know that it's really tough.
Right. And I think it's probably, I think we know it's even more common probably in homeschool than if our kids were going to school, because they're with the person they trust and feel the most comfortable with. So
Mhm.
our kids are going to be their true selves in front of the, the safest environment they have, which
For
is
sure.
your home.
For sure.
And
For sure.
so really they're being vulnerable to when they're sharing, when they're pushing back.
Right. I mean, we all know that kids break down when they come home or when they're home because they
Right? Yeah.
feel it's a safe place to do that. And so it makes sense that this would also happen during homeschool time. And I do think it's one of the challenges that homeschool parents face, because I think if you've heard about kids in school, or if you've experienced your child in school, you know that sometimes there isn't that breakdown, there isn't that pushback
Right.
with teachers, or even you may have experienced it with like them doing a sports class or a co-op class or something.
Yeah.
But then when they're at home with you, they really do push back. And so I think that can be a special homeschool challenge.
Oh, yes. Yes, for sure. And it is true though. And I do think this happens too when my kids do go to do one of those classes or whatever and come back. They can sometimes talk about how much, they can tell me how hard that thing was too.
Yeah.
But it's not until they come home sometimes.
For sure.
Yep.
And so I think what can be really hard about this is you have had a vision of what your homeschool might look like, or what you might be doing for a particular subject, or you might have a vision of us all being like happy together, or this being a really cozy setting. And so you have this vision, you've spent time thinking about it, you've spent time planning, you've spent energy planning, you've probably spent money on different curriculum or like different setup things. And your kid like may have been on board with whatever you were doing at one time too.
Right.
Like they may have said like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it may have worked for a while, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. So I think that's what makes it especially hard, is you can feel like, what?
Yes, it can feel
thought we
very
were-
confusing because
Yeah.
you're like, we're so in tune with each other. We did the whole thing that we, like in our back to school summit, we talk a lot about having this meeting at the beginning of the year, talk about your hopes and dreams and be really collaborative with each other. You may have done all of that.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, I am really tuning into my kid and I'm doing this thing. And then they're still just like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hard. It's heartbreaking.
Right. Right.
Or
And then
it may also be just a thing that is a real big priority to you. It's a really big priority to you. It's so important. This is something that we need to do. And maybe you're thinking, but I've like I've, like changed so many of my plans or like we've worked so much on other things. Like I've allowed you to do these things. I've let you do this. I've let you do this. Just do this one thing for me. Please just do this one thing for me. I
Yeah.
mean, and so it feels like, oh, they're just, it could be just it may seem like they are spoiled or, like you're like, I've given
Mm,
you everything,
yeah.
everything you
Yeah.
want. You get to do so much. You have so much freedom. And then I just want you to do this one thing.
Mhm.
Come on,
Mhm.
So I think that there is a pain point there for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when you've put so much thought and planning into it and money.
Right. And so the way that our kids are pushing back is
Yeah.
probably not like, hey, mom,
Ideal. Mhm.
can we have a meeting?
Yeah.
I'm not I'm
We'd
not
like to talk to
enjoying
you.
math right now or
Mhm.
something, right? It's not gonna look like that.
No.
It's gonna look like something hard. It's gonna look they might look like they might be crying, they might be refusing, they might
Yep.
be manipulating you, they might be,
Might look like manipulation
it
often.
could look like
Looks. Yes.
look like
Yeah.
manipulation, they could
Yeah.
be being disrespectful. There are lots of things it can look like, and that's okay. That's them communicating. That is them communicating to you.
Right, right, right. And it's not our job in that moment to fix the way they're communicating to us
Mm,
what's wrong. I think that is a big mistake that and that might be even hard to wrap your head around right now at this moment when I'm saying it, because I think what we as parents want to do is correct. Like we can't perpetuate this bad behavior
yeah.
by listening to them when they're acting this way. And I think that's a mistake, parents. I think
Mhm,
that's a mistake. I
mhm,
think what we do need to say is, I hear you. I
mhm.
see that this is not working.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna work on that first. I'm gonna take responsibility for what's not going well because of like what I've planned and what's going on
Mhm,
here. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna take responsibility for that, and like let's work together here. And then, like in a distant time, when the emotions are back to regulated, and
mhm.
you've moved on emotionally from this tough situation, then you can say that's when you can work on communication skills.
The way they communicated it?
The way they communicated it. And you don't even necessarily have to go back to
Yeah.
rehash that scenario, because that
Right.
could just bring it all back up. It could be like, I want to talk everybody about, like, if you're ever having a problem with something, this is what you can do. Just moving forward. Here's what we can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Right. Just
Um,
talk about it in general.
in general, or yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times when kids are trying to say something and it comes out as disrespectful, parents, including myself, I've done this, focus on the disrespectful nature of what they're saying.
They
Right?
do. Yes, which is not the
Um,
point.
which is really they're just trying to get heard.
Trying to get hard. Yep.
So and it can be tempting to do that because you're like, "Wait, you shouldn't talk to me like that. Like, I don't talk
Yep.
to you like that, and we don't talk to each other like that."
Right.
It can be tempting to focus on that first, but I think we really need to take a step back and be like, "You know what? We'll deal with that later. Right now, they're trying to communicate with me that something's not working."
Right. Yep.
So you can say something like, "Hey, I hear that I see you that you're really upset and something's not working. Can we
Mhm,
talk about that?
mhm,
Or do we need to take a break right now? Because you might
mhm.
need to take a break because
Yep.
maybe
Yep. Yep.
emotions are high or whatever. Take a break. Let's come back later and talk about it because I see that you're trying to communicate with me that something's not working."
Yes. And I think what happens in that situation is you are not perpetuating the bad behavior. What you're saying is, you actually don't have to act like that. I will listen to you.
Mm,
And
mhm,
so next time they might be like, they might actually, next time, or maybe in 5 times, I don't know, or maybe when they're more mature, eventually they're going to be like, actually, I don't need to put up such a fuss. My mom just listens to me. My parent just
yeah,
listens to me.
mhm,
So
mm,
actually, you are untangling that.
for sure. That's so true, Maren, because I
Mm.
think a lot of people can think like, well, we need to address the disrespectful, but like I just said, like
Yes, we
we need
just
to
think,
address
yep.
this.
Mhm.
And you
Why? Because it
are,
hurt
but
us.
you're doing it in a different way.
Right,
You're
right, right.
addressing it in a different way. You're showing them, I love you, I care about you, I see that you are hurting, and
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
Yep. I love and care about you, and I value you no matter how you're acting when you're really stressed out,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
as
Yes.
a child.
Yep.
I mean, as adults, when we're really stressed out, we don't always act ideally.
I
And we're
don't.
adults.
Yep.
We're adults.
Yep.
So our kids have not developed their brain yet. They haven't.
For
And
sure.
so they're not even really capable
For sure.
yet.
Right.
They will be.
So when kids are pushing back, they are telling you something's not working.
Mhm.
It can be a variety of different things that aren't working, and they
Yeah.
might not even be able to name it. They might say, like, I hate this writing or
Right.
whatever. Like, I hate writing. But what they might really be saying is, like, it might not be the subject. It might be the curriculum you're using.
Yes.
It might be the time of day that you're doing it.
Right.
They might be hungry. They might be tired.
They probably are.
Yeah.
Hungry.
Maybe
I
the
don't know.
curriculum is too hard,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe it's too easy. Maybe it's too boring. You know what? It might be too boring because a lot of curriculum is boring.
You know
So
what?
it might
Chances are.
it might be too boring.
Yeah.
It might be that they didn't have a say in picking it out.
Yeah. And I would also just add, like, I think there are just with learning differences, there might just be an adjustment that needs to happen. Like I have a kid who, whenever it's like eye reading or writing, it's boring, quote unquote,
Yeah. They
boring.
use the word boring.
They use the word boring, but honestly, they listen to audiobooks like nonstop.
Yeah.
And tell stories, and like they're
Yeah.
so creative about other things. It's just like the eye reading is just such a strain. It's hard.
It's a slog.
It's a slog. And then same
Mhm.
with like physical hand, like writing things down is real. It's like there's also some like fine motor skills that are really developing there too. So okay,
Mhm.
it's boring. Let's like really drill down into what do you mean it's boring?
Right. Because, like, for that kid, it might be like the actual work of it is is boring. It probably is.
Yeah.
But not like the subject of writing or
Mhm.
reading. Right.
Yeah, or if it's reading, maybe it's not necessarily just the subject of reading. I mean, I think any kid could probably enjoy reading if they had the right maybe topic of book,
Mhm.
and a very high interest thing. There's a
Right.
lot of things we can do within the subject too.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
to
true.
make it
That's true.
more, yeah,
Yeah.
relevant.
So what to do when your kids push back?
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing you don't want to do is power through.
Right.
I think that, although I have tried that. I've tried that.
We've all
So
tried
no
that.
judgment. No judgment.
Mhm, mhm.
But powering through never seems to work for me.
Right.
But I think when kids push back, we want to stop what we're doing and connect first.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So maybe that's listening to them. Maybe that is telling them that you hear them and see them and care about them and that you're going to figure this out together.
Right.
Maybe that's saying, hey, you know what? Like, I can tell that this is really stressing us both out right now. Do you want to just go like watch something on TV right now together?
Yes.
Pedal, just completely changing things up.
Totally. Yeah. And you can also just not do it. You can also
Yep.
just decide this is not for us right now.
For sure.
It's
Like,
okay.
you're not even going to try tomorrow is what you're saying.
Not gonna
Yeah.
try tomorrow. This is not.
Yeah.
not
You
what
can
we're
take a
doing right
break
now.
for however long you need to.
Right.
For it.
Exactly. Yep.
You might try again tomorrow. You might try next week. You might try in a couple months.
Right. And you can also do it differently. Like we talked about, there are some things that you can do
Mhm.
differently. You can try a different angle, but there often does have to be, a break in the emotion. There has to be a period where the memory of this tough thing may like make
Yeah.
it tough to even try it in a different way. So you
Mhm.
want to give it time for sure. Depending on what your child needs or you need, for sure. It's different for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you decide to try it again after your break, you might try a new curriculum.
Yeah.
You might try something completely different, like an app.
Yep.
You might, another thing you could do is outsource it to, like, maybe they take a class online, maybe they do it at a co-op or something. Maybe you change the time of day. Maybe you do it before bed.
Okay, I love that one because that's outside of the box thinking that I think a lot of kids need.
Okay.
They need us to be thinking outside of the box. We think we have to do school between 8 and 3 or something, whatever's in
Yeah.
our mind. Yeah, learning happens all the time.
Yeah,
It really does.
for sure. That's so true.
And it could be different for
It could be
every kid.
before bed. It could be that your partner takes it on. Maybe
Yes.
it's just like, you know what, I can't do this subject with this child because it's too hard for both of us right now. Can you take it on?
Yep.
Maybe you just don't do it at all. I
Right.
don't know. You have a lot of
Yep.
choices.
And I was just going to also say, I think it's really important for us. This is where I think, and we talk about this so much on the podcast, is to notice all the learning that's already happening around you.
Mhm.
There's so much learning that's happening around you. If you, took notes on all the ways your kids are learning throughout the day, you may not feel like you really have to do all the things that you've planned because they are learning so much, maybe even the exact subject and skill that you're trying to directly teach over here. Maybe they're doing it naturally on their own throughout the day, or maybe not exactly, but like they're still our job is, to have our kids practice learning. We want them to get into the habit of learning. It doesn't always even matter the exact thing that they're learning. They're in the habit of learning. When they're the habit of learning, they're going to continue to learn for the rest of their lives. And so to be like really a stickler about the exact thing they're going to learn today can kill the habit of learning. Right. And so then, okay, they learned that one thing today, but they're not going to learn as much for the rest of their lives. So what we really want is the continued learning.
Yeah. Yeah. So given all that, is it ever okay to push your kids? I think this is an interesting question because I think a lot of times, I think people have different opinions on it. So I would love to hear,
for sure.
Maren, what do you think about, is it ever okay to push your kids?
I do think it's good. I like to use, we've said this on the podcast before, to stretch without breaking. You want to stretch without breaking. And especially this works really well when it's something your kids are willing and excited about working on. It's like the book Grit talks about this a lot. I think it's Angela Duckworth. The author. She talks a lot about how grit is not working hard on something you hate doing. It's, working hard on the things that you can get in the flow with and
for sure
excited about. And so those are the ideal places to push your kids, honestly. And I don't mean like push out of their, too much.
Right.
Stretch. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that's ideal when kids are really into something, but I think a lot of times they're not, like sometimes they're just not, like, and there might be something that you just think is really important.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it is okay. I think especially as kids get older, so like maybe I'm talking like middle school age.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to sometimes push them. I think sometimes they need to try it and see that they can overcome this or
definitely
work through it. Yep. Or they can flex these certain muscles. They might need to know what that feels like.
Yep. I do think in the middle school, and I actually just had a conversation with middle school teachers about this, about how middle schoolers are often asking, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And I think that we all agreed that's a valid question. Because doing work that they don't care about there's nothing in it for them. So I think that it's very important to listen to your middle schooler, especially so that they understand there's something, they do get something out of it. And maybe it's something completely unrelated to the actual learning. You get to do something that I don't usually let you do, or whatever it is, we're going to go get a treat after this or something. I think that is valid. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially for a kid with a learning difference, especially ADHD. There is no dopamine hit you get from accomplishing something you didn't want to do in the first place. So there has to be some sort of, you have to provide that yourselves. If you want them to continue to do these, push themselves in ways they never really wanted to in the first place.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There are lots of things I don't want to do. And
exactly, right?
Sometimes I give myself rewards for doing them.
Yes.
Right? I say like, when I'm done with this, I can do this. And so I do think having those conversations with your kids is important. Like,
yes,
this does not have to be a day filled with a bunch of things you don't like to do.
Right.
You're not into this, but it's important. Okay, what could we do after to make it worth it for you?
And you want them, when we do give those, outside rewards or whatever, for me, the goal is, and you reference this, Angela, the goal is for them to feel the accomplishment, but they
Yeah.
aren't willing to try it to feel the
Yeah.
accomplishment until
Yeah.
they get a little, outside motivation or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
eventually they'll feel the accomplishment,
Yeah.
but they might not ever feel that if it's something they don't like to do. If it's
Yeah.
something they do like to do and they're still scared to try it or whatever, that's what we're dealing with at our house. Like, I know you're going to love this. I need you
Yeah.
to try it. And then I feel like then eventually they don't need the outside rewards. You know, they get it internally, and that is the ultimate goal, is to be like, oh, you felt
Yeah.
so good doing that, and you saw this, you know, this growth and the
Mhm.
accomplishments, and you should be so proud of yourself. And that's like awesome.
Yes. And
That's
I
what
would say too, like, you know your child best, right?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
sometimes this is appropriate. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes
For
the
sure.
thing that you're trying to do isn't really necessary. So I would ask yourself those tough questions
Mhm.
and see where you can give a little to. And
Yeah.
I would try not, I mean, like, I don't know. I hear from a lot of people or a lot of situations that like homeschool is a struggle and there's lots of crying and my kid doesn't want to do this or whatever. And I just think that that shouldn't be the majority of it. And so
Right.
you have to be a good judge of when it's appropriate to do a little bit of nudging. And I also think,
Right.
you know, you can't do that the whole day. So
No, you have to really pick what
you have to
want.
pick. Yep.
Mhm.
You have to pick when to use that.
When are you willing to use that? Because you don't have many of those chips in your pocket.
Right.
You really don't.
Right.
And
Right.
my kids too are sometimes, even when I give the outside, you know, dangle the carrot in front of them, they're like,
Yeah.
no, thanks. I've seen that before. I'm
Yeah.
not into it. No, thank you. Not worth it. And
Yes.
I get it. I understand that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes kids are so shut down that there's nothing. You don't even, even doing anything to push your agenda forward is just going to damage the relationship. And that's when you know it's time to just stop and connect and
For sure.
move on.
Stopping and connecting is just always
Yes.
the most important. And then listening,
is.
just really listen to them. Like, why are they not into this?
Yeah.
No. And then if they're giving good reasons, like, is this really that important at this age?
Right. And even if they might not, that's the other thing, is they might not be communicating good reasons at this point in their lives. They might not be. So we have to kind of, as parents, I don't know, like, it's really difficult, but you know, we sometimes just have to read between the lines a little bit.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can. Maybe you can, even what you see, you can talk to them about what you observe and what you notice might be happening if they're not able to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's wrong. What I'm noticing is this. Is that right? Do you think this is right or not, or whatever? But it'll start to come out the more you practice that kind of communication.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
I hope that was helpful.
I hope so too. I always love talking about this kind of stuff. We would love to hear your thoughts too. All right, let's move on to LTWs. Loving this week. Angela, what are you loving?
Okay. I am loving a skincare product. Now, I hesitate in saying this because I'm not like a skincare person and I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. So I'm not like an expert. So this is my non-expert product opinion.
Noted. Okay.
This is a product from The Ordinary. It's called AHA 30% plus BHA 2% peeling solution. Actually, I think the name is just peeling solution.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So it comes in like a glass bottle with a dropper.
Okay.
And what you do, it's like a mask that you might wear at night to exfoliate. And you don't use it that often. You would maybe use it once, maybe twice a week at the most, right? So, and it sits on your face, like it goes on kind of like a thick liquid.
Oh, wow.
And it sits on your face for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then you wash it off. And then the next day, your skin looks amazing.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That's what it is. So I bought this in I just looked, 2019 was when I bought it the first time. And I just ran out and reordered. So I've had it for a long time. Now, I don't think I've been using it every week.
Yeah.
I think I've gone a few weeks in the middle without, but my point is it lasts a long time. It's $8.
Wow.
It's $8 on theordinary.com. I like a lot of Ordinary products.
Oh,
so you could
yeah,
probably get a few different things there. But I really love this one because
Okay.
it's basically like it peels off your dead skin, I think.
That's
This is
amazing.
my unprofessional terminology. It peels off your dead skin.
Because I feel like
And-
there is some a lot of exfoliating products out there that I don't feel does that necessarily.
Yeah, this really does that. So
Okay.
like whenever I'm like my face starts to look, where I'm like, ugh, what's going on here? Like it looks dull, or like I have some flakiness. I have some dry skin sometimes at the top, like of my forehead. And then I go, oh yeah, I forgot. I could do my mask.
Ooh,
So I do it at night, like when I'm taking a bath, and I just let it sit there. It does tingle,
does it?
which can it can feel weird.
Okay.
It
Okay.
tingles, but I guess
Okay.
that means it's working. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
You wipe it off, and then you just put some moisturizer on top of it. You go to bed, and like I said, the next day you wake up and you're like, wow, what happened?
Oh,
Like,
wow.
it looks great.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
I wanted to let you all know that it's a really cheap and easy, great way
It's
to.
a good excuse to order a few things from The Ordinary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes. All right, Maren, what are you loving this week?
Okay, I'm loving a very simple snack, and it's Blue Diamond almonds, and they have newer flavor called Sweet Thai Chili. I get these from Costco, so a very large bag. Very large bag of these, and I'm telling you, I think I might be the only one who eats them in my family, and they go fast. So that's telling me I'm the one
You're
who's
eating a lot.
the very large bag of these almonds. They are so delicious. And I just, obviously protein filled, which I need in the middle of the day. I need more protein to keep going. So these are great snacks. This is a great snack.
I need new great snack ideas, because honestly, like snacks leave me lacking.
I agree. Same. And I'm happy to eat something healthy if it's easy. If it's easy, I will eat it. And this is, and it's so tasty. It's, it's just like it's sweet, it's a little sweet. It's a little spicy, which I love. The only thing I don't like is that it gets my fingers.
I was gonna say, do they? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I do not like that. But it's obviously very worth it to me because I continue to buy these every time.
That's awesome.
I shop at Costco.
That's great. And they're just for you because your kids aren't into them.
They're just for me. I'm sure my husband eats them too. I don't know. He must. He must. I keep telling myself that. Because they go
He must. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That's what I think.
I do have chocolate that I hide because I'm like, people, you cannot keep eating this. This is just for me.
Yes.
Yeah, which I know every parent probably hides.
Definitely.
So, okay.
Yep. Same.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. Special thank you to our 3 sponsors, Blossom and Root, Outschool, and Night Zookeeper.
Be sure to check out their links in our show notes. This podcast is created and hosted by Angela Sizer and Maren Gorse. We are listener supported. To get extra content and the Back to School Summit free with your membership, go to patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined. Subscribe to our newsletter and get our free top 100 inclusive book list at homeschoolunrefined.com/newsletter. You can find Maren on Instagram at unrefinedmaren and at Always Learning with Maren. Find Angela at unrefinedangela.